About the MSG news?
No, I mean, it's fine. I mean, more fees for my banker buddies, but I don't know why they would do it, but you know.
Is it just because the Rangers suck and the Knicks are great?
Well, until this year, until next year,
Excuse
who
my
knows?
French.
I have no idea why. No idea.
Okay, we'll
That's
talk.
Jimmy
we'll
Dolan. He can do whatever he wants.
We're working feverishly in the 9 o'clock hour to give you perspective
Yes, exactly.
on Knicks, Rangers. Ben McMillan is ready to step outside the studio here. He's like, why are we talking sports here? We've got to talk to him about the markets here and about technology, IDX advisors. I got to do an audible. Did you study under Peter Robinson at the London School of Economics?
No, he was there.
He was before you?
He was a little bit before, yeah.
I studied econometrics there. I do not have the parchment like you do. That it's like the toughest degree on the continent of Europe. It's like people age.
People age. I can attest to that firsthand. I mean, I told my wife it was 365 days in the library, no days off.
Yeah. Tell us about the econometrics right now of AI. You know, the epsilons in the back end of the linear function, the unknown unknown. What's the unknown unknown at IDX advisors that you see on artificial intelligence?
So it's interesting. I'll kind of give you two perspectives. First of all, so I was right out of grad school, right at LSE, I went to American Express. And, it's a quant stream, unlimited resources, tons of data. They own their network, so you have billions of rows of data. And we were using, AI back then. Now, that's not large language models. It's neural networks. It's the really nitty-gritty econometric stuff. And what was interesting back then, the joke was, each one of our computers had, $300,000 worth of software on it. Fast forward 10 years, 2015, and all of that is free. It's open source on the internet. And what you started seeing was a lot of sloppy kind of quant work out there. Hiring became a lot more difficult. You had to ask the right questions. Fast forward to where we are with AI today, I think it's very interesting because it's impossible not to draw parallels to the Industrial Revolution. Mm-hmm. We're seeing ChatGPT came out. I mean, we're case in point users. 2023, 2024. I mean, we were able to slash our legal bills in half just by typing into a console. Now we've wired in agents. I mean, it's everything that you guys were reporting on last week with the software sell-off. I mean, we're case in point users of it. So it's disruptive for sure.
So how are you, as an investor, playing AI? It's such a broad question, but I'll let you take it however you want.
No, so that's interesting. So we talk to a lot of clients. Our main business is outsourced chief investment officers. Yep. So we're talking to a lot of different advisors, and that's the number one question because chips are expensive. Everybody's worried. To some degree, metals was kind of an adjacent AI play, still is. What we're seeing a lot more now is, all right, well, who are the companies that are using AI to drive bottom line returns? And so we're doing analysis like that, actually using our own internal software, developed, using agentic techniques to identify companies, that are, not, obvious beneficiaries. Like Yum Brands is, aggressively developing, agents within their franchisees to lower costs. L'Oreal's having high-end concierge, shoppers, things like that are driving bottom line that, are kind of the next AI play.
The dynamics here, away from really fancy systems analysis and frankly behavioral dynamics, do you look at your shop that labor is going to be substituted out or eliminated as we all go for the huge pressure to increase margins? So, do you see evidence yet of that?
So I think that's the $1 million question. What I do see evidence of is there's going to be pockets of labor that are really disruptive, and it's going to be things like software engineers. We're already seeing that. It's going to be things like lawyers. And if you think about it, even language. I was explaining this to somebody. Language models. For years we would pay software engineers or lawyers to be our interpreters, right? They would go to school, get expensive degrees to learn to speak code or to learn to speak legal. Now all of a sudden, all of us have that in our phone in our pocket. Those industries are going to be, really disruptive. Even, Claude Code last week announcing, these agentic capabilities to build software. I mean, my wife is a perfect example. She's a project manager for real estate, doesn't want, needs a CRM, but it doesn't quite do what she wants, doesn't want to pay a big, 6-figure bill for something. So, using OpenClaw, which you guys have reported on, I've set up a little agent for her to basically just be her assistant.
Your dinner conversations must just be, talk about it. Oh, you think that's funny in there? It's entourage. Ben's entourage thinks that's hilarious. Can you imagine their dinner conversation? Ben McMillan with us, IDX Advisors. We continue.
Ben, you mentioned the software stocks over the past 3 weeks here. How did you view that?
So, I mean, that's a good question. Microsoft, for example, seems overblown to me. I mean, in general, it seems overblown. I think that, the market, we're in a market now that's trading off of headlines. It's very reactive. We saw this when Warsh came in, right? The market immediately assumed that he's going to be, extremely hawkish and kind of everything sold off. So, you look at stocks like Microsoft, I think that's overblown. That's not going to go anywhere. If anything, I think they're going to be long-term beneficiaries. But, look at stocks like Salesforce, you're going to see margin compression there. I don't see a state of the world in which there isn't.
Let me do economics here, Paul. Quickly, the market lifts. Futures up 22 now, up 33.0. NASDAQ up 0.6%. The VIX comes in under 19.78. Durable goods and all that, cap goods ex Boeing, all those numbers come in better. Non-defense XAR was a 0.3 survey. It came in a large 0.9 survey. Housing starts better. Building permits better. New York Fed services was worse. Okay, we'll blame Governor Hochul for that. And then we wait on industrial production. I'm sorry, it's like a GDP thing, Paul.
Yep, it is, absolutely.
I don't see recession here.
No, I don't see it
Claudia
as well.
was right.
Exactly. Ben, what do you make of this? We've seen precious metals just go crazy here over the past 6-9 months and now giving some back. I mean, how do you guys think about that?
So I think last time, we spoke was kind of midsummer. Silver was in the 30s.
Yep.
We were talking about how, it was a bullish trade, and I wouldn't be surprised if, silver closed the year at 50. Of course, it, it shot way past that on rocket skis. So I think that, the pullback was to be expected largely. Anything that goes parabolic like that, there was a lot of leverage in the system, et cetera, et cetera. What was interesting to me, though, is the discrepancy between paper and physical. And, we're seeing that, for years, I was at Van Eck, and, for years, the kind of industrial use case for silver argument was an academic footnote. Now we're seeing it real time.
Right.
I think that, Shanghai, physical didn't trade down nearly as much. And you had, a lot of these kind of what looked like market manipulation, et cetera. So, we're still constructively bullish, but what we're telling people is, now silver in particular has this kind of AI premium on top, which is volatile.
If you got on the IDX Gulfstream and went out to Redmond, Washington, what would you want to observe at Microsoft with all your skill sets? What would be your study of Microsoft's adaptation here?
So my guess is these agentic capabilities, these agentic workflows it is the future. It's anybody who's used it for a day fully understands. I'll give you an example. I've wired it in my phone now. This whole trip, I have yet to touch a keyboard, and I've got a bot that's shipping code. So I would love to see what groups like Microsoft are doing on the cutting edge of that.
A bot shipping code. You on top of that, Tom?
What's agentic mean?
Just, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in this, but anything in which you take the LLM and give it its own tools, its own capabilities, its own workflows. So it doesn't necessarily have to be hugely complicated. For example, like I said, legal flows is relatively straightforward, but it's just that having that layer of reasoning sitting on top of code processing is.
That's why I think the first 2 or 3 years, if not more, of my investment banking career can be done by AI right now. I mean, almost everything. I look back on what I did. I was
DCF analysis.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Ben, thank you so much. This is hugely interesting. Ben McMillan with us, founder, the CIO, IDX Advisors as well. Look for his research from IDX Advisors. Futures up 26, Dow futures up 120, NASDAQ up 0.5% here. It's a rebound Wednesday off the tensions that we saw early morning, call it 24 hours ago, off the President's Day holiday. The renminbi still 6.90 as they manage an appreciation of the yuan. From New York City, Bloomberg Surveillance